Being able to harvest our health is seriously one of the biggest blessings that I've personally enjoyed in this lifetime so far. To know that we have a massive amount of abundance at our fingertips and we can utilize that to create the body, the mind, and the soul that we want, that we feel is great for us, is amazing. Welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Lauren. For those of you who do know me, you know me. Today we're going to talk about some basics, some vitamins, what foods we can find them in, how to help our body process them better, water intake, digestion, some things that aid in digestion, some fun ways that we can help ourselves improve our water intake, and also just always remembering that practice makes improvement. The more we practice these little changes that we're going to make, the better our outcome is going to be in the long run. Don't expect to be the best, most perfect person at everything right now. Little tiny baby steps. You don't have to be great to start, you just gotta start to be great. These are just some foods that are high in iron. These are also great sources of other vitamins too. For all the potato lovers out there, we'd be happy to know there's a bit of iron and vitamin C in potatoes. And despite the bad stigma they have, it's all about quality. Potatoes have a slew of excellent nutrients and can actually aid in weight loss and lowering cholesterol. Speaking of vitamin C, that's what helps the absorption of iron, and it can be found in tons of delicious foods. I know a lot of people who struggle with anemia, and upping iron intake is one thing. Great idea, by the way. Also, though, improving absorption with vitamin C is another. Sometimes our belly juices just need that extra juice and boost. So while you're eating your iron-rich oats for breakfast, be sure to toss in some strawberries, blueberries, and other vitamin C foods. Calcium is our bones' one true love. Strong bones equal lots of calcium. Sometimes I feel like a detective searching for which foods have calcium, and kale and broccoli are delicious, simple, and just two of many calcium-rich foods. Leafy greens are a great choice for calcium. Others include bok choy. Watercress is also an excellent source of calcium. Mustard greens is great. Turnip greens are also great, and even chickpeas. Anybody want some hummus? Even though foods are high in iron or calcium, overall these foods have so many different essential vitamins and nutrients that our bodies need to thrive and live efficiently. And that's why it's so important to incorporate as many of these as possible, as many different colors and different kinds of food that we can. To be honest, I love devil dogs, coffee cakes, and frozen chicken nuggets just as much as the next guy. It's all about the taste that we really like. We get to a certain point in our lives where we want to break the cycle. So let's break it and start a new DNA chain. We all want to feel better. We all want to live better. And it starts with one single step. So let's attack the easy stuff first. Whether you know me or whether you don't know me, the question is always the same. How have I gained the knowledge that I've gained, and how do you know that I am a good person to listen to as far as this goes? Going back to that list that I was talking about in my first video, I came home from college one day. I was about 20, and there was a list on the fridge at my house. And it said, Monsanto's list, do not eat. And it was a list of like 25 companies or so, 25 to 40 companies. And I was reading it, and I recognized almost every single one of the brand names for food. For, the food that I ate growing up for my whole life up until I was about 20. And I didn't really know what that meant. I'm like, do not eat it. What are you talking about? And I looked up what it meant, and I learned a lot. I went over 250 different food companies and the quality of the food, what it is and why it's that way, and how the food is grown and how that affects us and our bodies and our minds. And when I looked up the Monsanto's list, the first thing I came across was GMOs. And at that time, I didn't know what the heck a GMO was. So that led to how it affects the cells and what foods it's in and how that affects our bodies and just everything. And I was gonzo for a while, and then I got really mad at everything because I felt like I had no control and I didn't know what was going on. And I felt like everything was a lie. So I kind of sunk into myself, and I made a decision that I wanted to be in the know and in control of the things that went in my body so I can know and not be so confused. I took matters into my own hands. I decided to learn things for myself and make a change for the better. And I wanted to know first and foremost how my body processed food and what foods were good for it to process and what those foods had to bring to the table for me. Like now y'all got to qualify to get into my body was pretty much how it was. And I did tons of research. The research I did probably lasted about, it still goes every single day. I still do research every single day. I want to make sure that the information I have coming in is of my control and I approve it. And that's definitely been something that's carried with me throughout these last 10 years that I've been, studying all of this. And I took it upon myself to do something I really, really did not like to do at all, and that's running. And with the help of my God aunt, we motivated each other enough to be able to do very well in running and jogging and biking. Cardio has never been something that I was wanting to do, and I didn't really know how to get into a groove to it until I practiced it every single day. And I got into a groove and I learned how my body reacted with it, and I liked it and I enjoyed it. And it kind of gave me the motivation and the boost to continue doing all of the good study and research that I was doing in my life. And then life gave me the most perfect, wonderful, beautiful gift I could ever ask for. And that boy completely changed my life. He was a very little boy, and when I met him, he was 1. And I was with him for 5 years, almost. And the experiences we had together and how much we grew to know each other and to know ourselves in that time was absolutely amazing. This was 4 years into my foodie journey when I also learned about cerebral palsy and focal epilepsy. Cerebral palsy is a movement disorder that affects the muscle tone and or posture. And focal epilepsy is when a person has seizures in one hemisphere. A lot of the times a telltale sign is fixed eyes just to one side. And this boy and these disorders was a blessing for both of us, honestly, and a chance to test how strong we are and how far our knowledge could really go. And this made me way more crazy brained than I already was as far as food went, just because I am now working with a barely 18-month-old who has a brain disorder. In which event, your girl went buck wild and completely started from scratch. I threw away everything in the house, every piece of food, every inkling of every single piece of any kind of food in the house, trashed. And I bought everything new. I bought everything that was fresh and alive and organic, except formula. It was organic, and better quality, but obviously it's formula. It was still processed. And when him and I met, he was FTF, failure to thrive, and he was anemic. And he was also on 9 medications, just barely 18 months old. 3 of them were for seizures. Other ones were for his body not being able to digest anything properly, and for his stool, and for his iron levels because he was anemic. The research that I was doing up until that point didn't have much to do specifically with children, or even babies for that matter, and definitely didn't have much to do with somebody who had cerebral palsy or focal epilepsy or really any kind of ailment. At that time, I had some minor knowledge in what food could do for different things, but after just seeing the way his body worked with what he was currently doing was honestly kind of heartbreaking. And it tweaked something in my brain. And the amount of research I was doing probably 10x'd. And super long story short, over the course of the time that we shared our love together, he improved a lot, immensely. He went from 9 medications to 4, got him off of everything except his seizure medications. He went from not eating by mouth to eating by mouth. And that was definitely an uphill climb. He started eating an ice cube sized of food, and it took him 2 hours to eat just an ice cube sized of food. And I got him to the point where he was eating a cup and a half of oatmeal in 30 minutes. That's a lot of ice cubes. And he was no longer anemic. That probably kicked that by the end of that year, honestly. That was surprisingly an easy one to fix. I thought it was going to be more difficult. And so, got him off the iron medication. The iron medication coupled with the stomach medication were the 2 main things that were making his stool not normal and a bit uncontrollable. And so because of the fix in the anemicness, we got him off of the iron supplement, which also had fluoride in it. And that didn't really make sense for a boy who had cerebral palsy because fluoride deteriorates brain matter. So I really wanted to get him off of that. I think that's one of the reasons why I pushed so hard to make sure that, we can get it to a sustainable level and keep it there by the end of the year. And that was accomplished. And the stomach medication was a bit of a harder feat that took much longer, probably about 2 years. And eventually, with the right foods, ended up getting him off of that as well. Throughout this time, we did make sure that we had consistent updates with his nutritionist. We had a nutritionist for him, and we gave them updates bi-weekly. And, they really liked the improvements they were seeing. And by the end of the 2nd year, they told me that everything I was doing was don't change anything, keep getting better. And they let us go because they didn't feel that we needed them for nutrition anymore. And that was really great because that just meant that we were doing really good. And Vinny was doing so good eating the way that he was eating and improving that the way that he was improving that. Like, it was really a test of his strength, and he came out with flying colors for sure. That child not only taught me so much about myself, but he also pushed my knowledge in everything that I was learning as far as food goes. Because to me, he was my kid, and I would stop at nothing to make sure that my kid has everything that they need and more in order to thrive fully in this life. And between him and I, we definitely carved a name in stone for ourselves. Liking this video and subscribing to my channel is going to be yet another chance for another person who's wanting to see content like this, able to see content like this. The more that you guys like and subscribe, the more people get to see what's being said here. And this is just the beginning. It's about to get real great. With that being said, please like and subscribe to my channel and share with the people that you feel this is for, and comment any questions or comments. The whole purpose for this channel is we deserve the truth, y'all. We really do, and we deserve to have control of the truth, and we deserve to have fun with it, and we deserve to have a vision about it and how we want our body to feel and the kind of foods we want to eat. Like, we definitely deserve to have a bright and shiny picture of that in our mind, and we deserve to gain the clarity, and we deserve to have all of this information. We are God's highest form of creation, and we have all of the capabilities right at our fingertips. And we deserve to be able to pass this down to our children and the generations that come after them. I suppose I want to be one of the first in my family to switch it up My family has always struggled with health for as long as my grandmom can remember, and I want to make a change. I want to be the change, and I'm ready to go. So let's do it.